Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am back in the building for another podcast. This is the Just Facts podcast. Back up in here for another episode. This is going to be episode number 137. Um hey, it's October 10th, 1 a.m. in the morning when I am doing this currently. Hopefully everybody is doing good out there. Um Back in here for another content filled episode of this show right here. It's a struggle sometimes to do this on your own, but I do it because I like doing it. I like to get not only leaning into a perspective of just popular culture and everything like that, but just to give myself some type of like release as far as like therapeutic, a therapeutic threshold goes. So, without further ado, I'm gonna get this started. We are getting into first. I'm gonna be getting into the J. Cole record, the newest J. Cole record that was released called Port Antonio. So, starting off, getting into the context of J. Cole's basically just out of nowhere surprised everybody by wiping his Instagram and dropping this song, which fans quickly tied to it being a deeply personal track that addresses his legacy and position in hip hop. This song appears to be a declaration of Cole's continued dominance and authenticity in this industry where staying true to oneself is challenging. The track is really about his lyricism and his wordplay more than just like trying to appeal to a certain audience in the mainstream. So, starting off with his first verse, Cole opens the song with lines that address his, doubters and detractors and the pressures of trying to stay in the limelight. For instance, when he raps, jealous niggas wanna know just how my rhymes flew. He's addressing those who doubt the organic rise of his career. He follows with mano y mano, I'm you times two, which can be seen as a declaration that despite the competition, he has risen above doubling down on his skills. This can also tie into how he's been able to outgrow past struggles. Thematically, the verse also reflects on his legacy and how others perceive his place in the, aforementioned big three. We're talking about J. Cole and Kendrick and Drake. This acknowledges a direct response to some criticisms from peers and the public, especially after the tensions between Kendrick and Drake and the fact that J. Cole backed out of beefing with Kendrick Lamar, or even, and backing out of beef in general because he's a rapper, and when you're a rapper, you're not supposed to back out of a beef. At a certain point in time, I didn't respect J. Cole for backing out of beef with Kendrick Lamar, especially since he dropped that diss track, and then he dropped that album that might delete later. But I mean, in hindsight, I get why he didn't do it. It made a lot of sense, and then he kind of explains it in the song, at some point. So in the second verse, Cole digs deeper into personal reflections, referencing how his hometown, Fayetteville, has shaped him. The ville where my skeletons lie indicates his past struggles and traumas that he has tried to keep hidden, but have played a large role in his growth. He reflects on the pressures of life in the limelight, rapping about seeing lifelong friends turn to devilish ops. A poignant line that touches on betrayal and how fame can distort relationships. It could also be referencing Kendrick and Drake, trying to just stay out of that. And also, it would be important to discuss Cole's ongoing battle with staying grounded and real while navigating the complexities of success. You could also expand on how this theme ties into his broader discography, where he's often been open about the pressures of balancing fame and authenticity. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm just gonna, because I have the notes, but I think to really gain a little essence, I'm gonna like have to go to Genius as well, just to have the lyrics, even though I do have the lyrics here, but I don't have all the lyrics. So let me just pull that up really quickly. Really quickly. I don't even know. Do they even have the lyrics up yet? I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. There's no way that's okay. I was about to say there's no way that song isn't already up here. Um so in the second verse, we're staying with the second verse. There are some lines throughout this thing. In the second well, let me just go back to the first verse where he says, I was Mike in red leather trying to tell him to stop. You better beat it before you see the heavy metal get popped. He was a mean ass wing with a hell of a shot. But if no team draft king, he gonna bet on the block. Let me tell you something, man. I don't care how much you hate J. Cole. That whole entire scheme right there was crazy. The whole entire scheme was crazy. I don't care if you dislike him for, oh yeah, he's soft because he didn't battle Kendrick Lamar. He backed out. Let me tell you something. He did the right thing, man. J. Cole did the right thing. He did what was best for him. What was best for him. If you think about it, he's the real winner because he showed that like I'm a grown man and I don't have to beef with anybody. I don't have to entertain none of this. Because how it's like how am I gonna look when the dust settles and the smoke clears? We can't go back to being friends with each other. I can't go back to Kendrick Lamar and Drake ain't never gonna be friends again. I don't feel like it. They've already said too much to each other to even ever be cordial again. The disrespect on both sides has been too much. So it's like J. Cole is the smartest person is in this entire beef because he chose to stay out the way. He chose to stay out the way. So going into the second verse, like coming back to the second verse. So we get to a part where I think he's addressing it. I'm trying to find where he addresses it at. There are like mad lines throughout this song that make you just say, man, I never doubted for it. You can hate him, you can judge him for his decision making, but you cannot deny the spitter that J. Cole is, man. You can never deny that. Ever, ever, ever. So, staying with the second verse, going to. All right, so I'm trying to just because there's so many lines in this song. In this song, so many lines, bro. He waited to do this rollout for his moment in the perfect time. I don't know when we're gonna get the Fallout or the Fall Off, excuse me, the Fall Off album, but if this is like a preview of that, I'm ready. I'm ready for the album. I am ready for the album. Trying to find where he like directly addresses the whole Drake and Kendrick thing. Let me see here. I'm trying to. Okay, so in verse 2, right? He says, let me see what he say. All right, so it's a lot. It's a lot. You can kind of tell from just everything he says in this song that like he was really holding on to this stuff. And when it was time to just release all of it, he left. He let his soul just he let his soul cry in the booth for real. So, it says right here. It says, "I hate what the raps become, but like do not disturb signs can't knock it. If I see it's about the dough, they instigate the fuckery because it's profitable. But singing stop the violence tunes when dudes in hospitals. Man, come on now. He's saying he right there, he's saying rap fans. Rap fans love to say, oh, it's just rap. Oh, it's just rap. But when dudes get like when people get shot and end up in the hospital and people die, people be talking about RIP, we need to stop the violence and all that other stuff. But when it's just when it's rap and rappers and there are rappers who really don't like each other and really and the crews of those rappers are some of them are crash outs, really willing to go to jail for nothing, willing to die for nothing. People getting hits put on them and all this other stuff. All the people who are fans of rap music start turning into Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. That's basically what he's saying right there. So continuing on, he said, I pulled the plug because I seen where that was about to go. So infamously, J. Cole was in the beginning stages of the feud with Kendrick Lamar and Drake, in which J. Cole was sending shots to Kendrick Lamar. And then just almost out of nowhere, J. Cole just like said, you know what? I'm not going to continue this. Y'all can do this. I'm not about to do this. Yo, Kendrick, I apologize. That's not who I am. I'm a grown man, and it's not, it didn't feel good in my spirit that I was doing all of that. And I couldn't, I can't sleep at night with that on my conscience that I'm sitting up there just ready to crash out for the perception of, people who listen to my music or people who listen to your music or people who listen to Drake's music. It doesn't feel good in my spirit. So I apologize, and I'm gonna just gracefully bow out. You do what you need to do. Diss me if you need to, but I'm good. basically what he did. And he's addressing that here and basically saying, "Hey, I knew where it was going." He continues, "They wanted blood, they wanted clicks to make their pockets grow." He's talking about every person, every vlogger, notably the most notable ones like a DJ Academics or any one of these different hip hop media platforms that spend their time, spend their energy pushing the nonsense and making money off of that. Basically, that's what he's talking about. Um, Continuing on, he says they wanted clicks to make their pockets grow. They see this fire in my pen and think I'm dodging smoke. So rightfully so, readily so, however you want to say it, the fans start dogging J. Cole when he decides to just basically gracefully bow out from any type of beef with Kendrick Lamar. I was one of those people who said that, man, J. Cole, what are you doing? Why are you sitting up there apologizing? But I mean, after a while I was really still in tune in the beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, I realized it was smart for him not to be in this beef. Because like as I said previously, you're gonna say a bunch of stuff you don't mean and you can't take back, and I at the end of like as a man and at the end of the day, your word you stand on the word that you have used to trash and threaten somebody. And it's like once you lay those words of hate down, you can't take it back. There's no way to take it back. We can't be friends after this is over with. So I respect J. Cole for seeing that that wasn't what was in his heart. And honestly, it was the smartest. Honestly, it's the smartest idea in this whole entire thing. Continuing on, where was I at? They see this fire in my pen and think I'm dodging smoke. I wouldn't have lost a battle, dog. I would have lost a bro. See, just like I said, you say a whole bunch of hateful stuff, and it's like, well, me and Kendrick would have said a whole bunch of stuff to each other, and we wouldn't have went back and been able to be friends after all of that. And as a grown man, I mean, I can definitely see something like that. I can understand that. I would have gained a foe, and all for what? Just to attain some more props from strangers that don't got a clue what I've been aiming for. It's talking about fans. Fans don't understand that. Y'all don't understand that like these people be actually having like relationships outside of just making music with each other. Like J. Cole got Drake and Kendrick number. They probably talk every now and then. This is real. It's real, Beef is for the record companies. So they can get more album sales, more clicks, more singles being downloaded and bought and saved and listened to, and pushing that hate train to the radio and to the TV channels and so on and so forth. These corporate people don't give a damn, and those are the ones that you really need to be. Those are the ones who really made the profit off of us, for real. If you really think about it. So continuing on. Since the age of 14, Jermaine is no king. If that means I gotta dig up dirt and pay a whole team of algorithm bot niggas just to sway the whole thing on social media, competing for your favorable means to be considered best of live and rest the weight of both things. He going in. He's basically explaining the tactics of somebody like a Drake or any rapper could really do this. I've seen I've seen DDG do something like this where you dig up dirt or pay somebody to dig up dirt and go find out about, where your grandma stay or who's your girlfriend or, you know, just personal stuff that you can just say in a song about somebody, which is very disrespectful. And it's even more disrespectful that you actually take the time to go and go do something like that instead of just writing your bars and just saying what you need to say, you know, without having to go get some dirt on a family member or something like that. When he explains it like this in the song, it makes a whole lot of sense. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a human being, and I'm I'm uh I'm just like any other person who's a rap fan. We want blood. We like drama. We like drama. We like drama. All that friendly rap music is a sport, and rap music is not a friendly sport at that. There was a period in time in the 2000 and was it the 2010s where every rapper was just like hella friendly, and everybody wanted to be friends. Like, don't nobody want, like, bruh, I don't want my favorite rapper and another rapper who I don't listen to be friendly with each other. That's how I like that's the perception of most rap fans. I don't want my favorite rappers to be friends with each other. I'd rather them just beef with each other. Make rap records. And the thing about this with this Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef is that um we don't know how long it's going to be before there's ever another rap beef like this again. We might not get another rap beef. Two rappers beefing and just keeping it on wax for another probably 5 years. Excuse me. For another 5 years or 10 years or something like that. So people were celebrating this because it's very rare to see rap beefs happening. So anyways, continuing on. As far as I could like tell you, this is like the reason why this whole entire verse is important, or just the song in general is just like Cole's basically just discussing his battle to be in the good graces of the people who like his music. Honestly, for me, if I still respect and love J. Cole's music. Honestly, bro, just I feel like everybody still likes J. Cole. It's just some people don't respect him because of that one little thing. And you're never gonna win anybody's approval in rap music. For every one fan who loves a certain artist, there's like a percentage of fans who are just like, yeah, he's trash, he's washed, nobody listens to him, da 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 da, all that other stuff. But it is what it is, man. And at some point, you had to know J. Cole was gonna come out and speak his piece on the whole entire thing. Now that the smoke is cleared, um, And then continuing in the second verse, let's see here. I want to point this part out specifically. I understand the thirst of being first that made them both swing, protecting legacies so lines got crossed, perhaps regrettably. My friends went to war, I walked away with all they blood on me. Now, some will discredit me to try to wipe away my pedigree, but please find a nigga, find a nigga out there that's find a nigga out there that's out rapping this incredibly. My dog texted me, I'll share the words he said to me. If you refuse to shoot a gun, don't mean the gun ain't deadly. I guess in that metaphor, hypothetically, the gun is me. I text him back like, guess a gun ain't what I'm trying to be. My nigga, they stripped me out of my spot and now I'm finally free. My nigga, they say I'm picking sides. Hey, don't you lie on me, my nigga. To start another war, hey Drake, you'll always be my nigga. I ain't ashamed to say you did a lot for me, my nigga. F all the narratives. Tapping back into your magic pen is what's imperative. Reminding these folks why we do it. It's not for beefing, it's for speaking out our thoughts. Pushing ourselves, reaching the charts, reaching your minds deep in your heart, screaming to find emotions to touch something inside, open you up. Now, see, let me go back. It takes a big man to admit that, hey, Drake, you helped me. Hey, bro, I love you. You my brother. It takes a real changed person to just say that on a record. And I honestly I gotta give J. Cole props because no regular rapper who is as big as J. Cole is, and rappers got egos like crazy, whatever, sit on a song and admit like, Drake, bro, you helped me propel my career. You know, Drake, you still my boy, right? I still rock with you. I don't care what's going on, you know? And I'm sure it's the same way for Kendrick. Hey, like I still rock with you regardless, right? It takes a real reformed, a real changed person to just sit there and say that, you know? It takes a real person to say that. So wrapping up, Port Antonio as a whole and what it represents for J. Cole's career. This could be seen as a declaration of independence from a mainstream expectation. A moment where Cole is truly confident in his artistry and legacy. You could also discuss the fan reaction, the speculation around the Kendrick Lamar situation, and how Cole's reflective yet aggressive tone suggests that he is ready to take on his rap critics head on, of course. Closing with how Port Antonio fits into the current landscape of hip hop, where the authenticity and staying real are often pitted against the desire for commercial success will make for a thought provoking conclusion. I personally think that if you're a person who's a fan of lyricism, you're a person who's a fan of I think what these brothers are truly doing for music, for hip hop, for music in general is bringing back the segment of listening to lyrics, Like, I'm not gonna say that Kendrick Lamar is the only one who brought that back, but he's a big part of the reason why people are going back to listening to lyricism. Mumble rap had its time, had a long period of run. Mumble rap, catchy rap, however you want to call it, had a long run. Those those rappers who specifically are basically marketers of the producers, where they don't say nothing on the beat, and the beat is the calling card. They had their run, but now it's time to get back to lyricism. It's time for lyricism to be championed back again, because the thing with hip hop is, yeah, it can go in a wavelength of different tiers. You got your dance records, you got your beat beat heavy slash catchy rap tunes, and then you got your lyrical rap songs. Every one of those tiers, each one of those tiers has its own period where it thrives, and then people get burnt out, and then the next tier will take over, you know. So I said you can definitely say the same thing for regions. People might not be into Florida hip hop right now, uh, or or like East Coast hip hop right now, right? California is probably the way as far as music goes right now. I'm not sure, because I don't listen to I don't listen to everybody. But when a coast when the market gets tired, or the machine gets tired of one region, they hop to the next region. Down south, the thing about the down south is that the down south is always going to thrive. Music is always gonna be hot at down south, because of it being its own little independent entity. Texas is its own independent entity. Atlanta is its own independent entity. All these different regions have their own marketability, and don't ever have to go to you know, a big terrestrial record company to, you know, get to pop off. They can go to the local regional record company and pop off, without ever going to a Universal or an Atlantic or whatever. So it's just all in tiers. And I feel like this J. Cole record is it's gonna be talked about for a little while, because it's an incredible song, and it just showcases the artistry that is J. Cole. I mean, if you didn't already know it, incredible song. Y'all should go give it a listen. And I'm gonna move on. So I wanted to get into a conspiracy, if I could. There is a Chance the Rapper conspiracy I want to get into really fast. Um, it's for the song called Cocoa Butter Kisses. If you've never listened to that song, just go ahead and go give that song a listen. So the conspiracy goes like this. Chance the Rapper is seen as one of the most positive figures in modern hip hop. His image as a socially conscious, God fearing artist who promotes charity and family values puts him in stark contrast to the typical rapper plagued by controversies. And the problem, people what I've seen is that people hate positive rappers. Like, look at all the positive rappers in this time period that there are. I can only name, besides Chance the Rapper, maybe like Logic is the only other positive rapper that I can think of. But positive rappers get pained because like they're preaching a positive message. It's so weird how it's hard to find a rapper who isn't talking about his diamond chain, objectifying women, how much money he has. But the things I just named are like pushed so heavy. And it's like a domino effect or a double edged sword when a rapper who talks about all that same stuff turns around and does a positive song. People are like, what the hell are you talking about? We don't want this. We want you to keep doing the talking about the vices, talking about the stuff that we can relate to, versus like somebody who is making music for somebody who's going through depression and suffering. Those people get like another one I can name who's a pretty positive rapper is Joyner Lucas. But people don't, he's for a select crowd as well. But not to get off topic, um, there's a long-standing conspiracy theory floating in the underground hip hop circles about Chance the Rapper's hit song "Cocoa Butter Kisses" from his acid rap tape. Uh, some fans speculate that behind the wholesome exterior of the track lies a deeper, darker, layer-rooted secret connection with hidden organizations like the Illuminati or an industry power player. So getting into the lyrics. Cocoa Butter Kisses is a nostalgic song about growing up, family, and innocence lost. But conspiracy is at the helm of this song. So obviously, the hook goes cigarettes on cigarettes. My mama think I stank. I got burn holes in my hoodie. My homies think it's dank. This seems to be a simple reflection of Chance's youth, but it symbolizes initiation rituals within secret societies. The act of burning symbolizes sacrifice, and the hoodie could be a reference to cloaks worn during ritualistic ceremonies. The homies think it's dank line could imply peer pressure and the acceptance of darker practices that come with success in the music industry. The line where he says, used to smoke a Swisher blunt, now I got a bigger cup. The bigger cup is often pointing to reference of Chance's potential connection with higher powers within the music industry. Some believe that this is a metaphor for Chance drinking from the cup of power after aligning himself with powerful industry elites. Um, some of the theory, some of these theories come from like I feel like a lot of it has to do with like how he just kind of like came from out of nowhere and got big, like as far as like his from a power structure standpoint, and how like they pushed him up as a like gatekeeper so quickly. Um, usually whenever somebody just like comes out of nowhere, or an artist comes out of nowhere, um, or so on and so forth in any part of the entertainment industry, they call that in the music industry a what do they call it, a plant, an industry plant, bought and paid for. Which I don't know if that's the case with Chance the Rapper, because I mean he doesn't really have like, and it's especially for those who don't have like a who don't have a lot of material in the beginning. Chance the Rapper didn't really have a lot of material in the beginning, if I think about it, because he had the 10-day mixtape. You have Acid Rap, and then there's I mean, there's not that many. He doesn't really have that many, like, yeah, he doesn't really have that much discography to be like, if I really go back and I like look, he has like a couple of mixtapes and like maybe a couple of albums, you know. So that does raise a lot of red flags. His line that says, "I miss my cocoa butter kisses." On the surface, this is about the simplicity of childhood and affection. But from a conspiracy standpoint, cocoa butter kisses are a code for something more occult, perhaps referencing innocence lost in exchange for fame and fortune. Um, Moving on, Chance is famously from Chicago, a city known for producing top tier talent in music, from Kanye West to Common. However, from a conspiracy standpoint, uh, Chicago's prominence in the rap scene isn't coincidental. Some say that there are covert groups within the city that identify young and talented artists and groom them from stardom or for stardom, excuse me, while ensuring that they follow certain rules set by higher ups in the entertainment industry. I mean, I don't really need to explain that. Y'all heard what I said y'all heard what I said just now. Rumors have circulated that Chance's rapid rise from independent mixtapes to Grammy wins without the support of a major label was not just due to his talent, but rather his connections to these hidden power structures. So as I stated before, Chance the Rapper didn't really have a lot of like material in his discography when he just like all of a sudden got all of this acclaim, which would lead somebody to believe like he's an industry plant that was like he was getting like, you know, sponsored under the table, like kind of sort of how like Macklemore, is that it? Am I saying his name correctly? Macklemore was just out of the blue. He rose to a certain level very quickly. Coming to find out that later on that, hey, I was being he came out and said that he was being funded by by a big record company while putting on the front that he was an independent artist, which I don't understand why you just don't say that you're not an independent artist. You're actually an artist who is funded or sponsored or having a distribution deal through a big record company. I don't know why I don't know why big record companies need to put that whole entire narrative out there. If the artist is connected to you, just say that the artist is connected to you. Or maybe the artist is ashamed and they don't want the public to know that they are being connected to a big record company. Which, I mean, I don't know why some artists think it's better to just lie about it when you're gonna either eventually tell the public later on that you were signed to this record company. Sort of like how Young Dolph, rest in peace, was saying that he was independent, and you know, years later, not even before he even passed away, like maybe a year before he passed away, he had like revealed that like, hey, I was connected, or I signed a distribution deal or something, but he was connected to a big record label. So it was like, well, why even say that you're independent, you know? But Chance's avoidance of signing with major labels could be viewed as a way to mask his real connections to these secret organizations. By maintaining an independent image, Chance would deflect suspicion while still receiving the backing of powerful unseen forces. Kind of sort of like what I just explained. Some conspiracy even points to Chance's rise to former President Obama, who is also from Chicago. Obama's connection to Chance fuels speculation that Chance's career trajectory was in some way politically influenced, part of a grander scheme involving influential elites both in politics and entertainment. I believe Chance's father is like knows Obama. Like I think they went to high school together or something like that. They either went to college or high school or something like that together. So the connection is there. I understand that part. The role of religion in Chance's career. Ooh, wow. I have a take for this. Chance open Christianity and faith-based music are often seen as refreshing in an industry known for materialism and excess. But from a conspiracy standpoint, some say he's overly religious. Maybe a calculated move to distract from darker affiliations. In particular, theorists point to Chance's coloring book album where he frequently talks about his faith, while some see this as an authentic expression of his belief. Others suggest that Chance uses religion or religious imagery as a cover, allowing him to appeal to a wider, morally conscious audience while still operating within the bounds of the entertainment industry's shadowy elite. You know, I want to speak on this real quick. So, what I want to say about Chance's whole religion phase, where he was more, so to speak, trying to appeal, like, I'm sure he was in his faith. Like, I'm sure he got into wanting to get closer to God, as far as his relationship goes. But him trying to appeal to his audience while trying to still stay on the side of a Christian audience is just like, it's in the Bible. Christ says you cannot serve two masters. So I don't understand why Chance was doing like on coloring book. I don't know why Chance was like, I believe it was it was the first coloring book, right? I don't understand why Chance was doing his mainstream rap thing and still like rapping how he was rapping and then turning around and having like gospel records on that same project. It was just like, bro, either stay one way or revert back to the music that the music that you make. Don't go do gospel music and then intertwine it with your regular mainstream rap music. That just sends a message of like, you're not serious. You just want to play with it. You want to play with play with what music, play with you just want to play. You're not serious about it. That's what I feel like when it comes to like the whole coloring book aspect of this. There's a long running conspiracy theory that some artists intentionally project a religious or wholesome image to distract from their true affiliations. These theories claim that Chance's consistent references to God, Jesus, and blessings may be a part of this strategy. Some point to his collaborations with other artists, such as Kanye West, whose image has long been tied to Illuminati conspiracies, as evidence of Chance's deeper connection to occult symbols and the entertainment world. I don't even want to get into the new. If I decide to like go into like the new numerology as far as like Chance having the three baseball cap. I don't know what where I will go or what the rabbit hole will send me down to if I decide to like start using numerology, but I won't do that. I think the notes I have right now will give me enough on that. So in a twist, some conspiracy theorists tied Chance the Rapper's story with that of the Joker from Todd Phillips' Joker movie. It's interesting. They argue that Chance's public persona reflects the concept of duality. Much like Arthur Fleck's transformation into the Joker, on the one hand, Chance represents joy, positivity, and faith. His Cocoa Butter Kisses track with his Cocoa Butter Kisses track. But on the other hand, some speculate that his rise to fame involves compromises or compromises with darker industry forces, making him an unwitting symbol of the corruption he claims to stand against. This part of the theory suggests that Chance, like the Joker, may be a figure onto whom people project their own beliefs and expectations. Just like as Gotham labeled Arthur Fleck as the Joker, the industry may have cast Chance as the moral figure while secretly pulling the strings behind the scenes. Todd Phillips' directorial decisions in Joker, particularly the idea that Arthur Fleck may never have truly been the Joker, resonates with the conspiracy theorists who believe Chance the Rapper's public image is a carefully curated facade created by those empowered to distract from what's really going on behind closed doors. And to even expand on that more, it is a little crazy that, well, it's not crazy, but ever since Chance dropped that, what is it, big fish, I don't know the name. It's like big something. Ever since he dropped that album, I don't know how many years ago is that now, and that flopped crazy. People just like pain, like criticize and pained him, and just said he's washed. Chance the Rapper can't come back, and it's like now after all those years, he's actually now coming back and starting to wanting to put out music, and the music is actually pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. The way he's been releasing it is one thing I respect, because when people do rollouts, sometimes artists either drop one or two singles and then they drop the album. But sometimes there are artists who take their time and they'll drop one single, two singles, three singles, four singles. By the time you know it, when it's time to release the project, all of the songs because they've released so many singles. And it's like, there you go. All the songs because I've released like 5 singles, 6 singles. That's dang near half the mixtape or the album, just to reach people's attention span and their radar. So Chance the Rapper's been doing a good job of that and just releasing singles, just releasing stuff that people will be able to remember. So when his project comes out, it will stick in people's minds. So music is very hard to come by nowadays because everybody's attention spans is so short. So, at the core of this, the conspiracy theory surrounding Chance the Rapper and Cocoa Butter Kisses revolves around the idea that nothing in the music industry is as it seems, while Chance is seen as an independent, faith driven artist who rose to fame through sheer talent and hard work, Conspiracy argues that success was orchestrated by unseen forces within the industry, which it may very well have been, as I go back and explain just from a fan perspective, seeing that, thinking like when he first came out, he just kind of came out of nowhere a little bit. Um, but at the same time, when I think about it as well, like he still had to work to get to where he needed to be. Um, just in my opinion. Um, Continuing on. Much of this theory is speculative, and there is no concrete evidence to support these claims. However, the narrative persists in certain online communities fueled by a combination of Chance rapid ascend, his image as a clean cut rapper, and the music industry's long history of putting artists in positions very quickly. So, also I do want to point out one thing that Chance that song is featuring Twista and what's his name? What is that guy's name? I used to listen to his music too. The guy that is featured on the song with him and Twista is what is dude's name? I can't think of his name right now, but him and Chance the Rapper and Buddy was like beefing, and they were beefing for like the weirdest reason. I've never heard of any of two rappers beefing over who does more for the city, or as far as like charity wise or whatever. They were beefing over that. I can't think of his name right now. It'll come to me later. But I'm going to be moving on. Um, so the next thing I want to talk about is, man, this Joker movie. I literally just finished watching it like earlier, and man, oh my goodness, I see why people say that it sucks. Like, you cannot mix a drama, a comedy in with a musical. You can't do that. Can't do that. Like, it just like the music aspect of this just like messes up the whole like the story. Whatever Todd Phillips was trying to like actually accomplish, they ruined that. Before I get into my notes here, I do want to say that, like, I feel like with this Joker Folly Ado, if I'm even saying that correctly, I feel like the musical aspect of the movie, I feel like if they didn't add the musical aspect of it, I don't think Lady Gaga would have been part of the movie. I feel like she wouldn't have participated in the movie if there wasn't like a aspect where she could like actually like sing in the movie. That's a take that was on my mind while I was watching the movie. I'm like, would Lady Gaga have even considered doing the movie if she didn't have parts of the movie where she was singing? But getting into the movie, right? This is my review of the movie. So, Joker Folly I Did, directed by Todd Phillips, has been on the negative as far as the critics and the public in general uh, have been panning this movie, dragging this movie. It's been getting all types of bad press. So First of all, one of the most prominent reasons for public distaste, which I already named one part of it, um, from the film's drastic genre shift, while the original Joker was lauded for its gritty, grounded portrayal of mental illness and societal alienation. This Joker movie takes an entirely different approach by incorporating musical elements, particularly in scenes featuring Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. The inclusion of these musical numbers significantly altered the film's tone, moving away from the realism of the first movie to something more abstract and for many out of place. Fans of the original Joker had built expectations around the grim, grounded nature of the film, and this tonal shift led to widespread confusion and frustration among viewers. It was like when I was watching this movie, I can tell you when I know I don't like a movie, the way I know I don't like a movie is when I fall asleep. I get to falling asleep or I'm on my phone too much. I tried to focus and watch this movie, but like I felt like I was watching a play. Like you know how when you go to like a Broadway play, that's exactly what I felt like I was watching here. I felt like if there was any like all the parts of the movie where it was just like okay, actual dialogue and actual talking, it was all foreshadowed by all of the singing. Like I had like seen different people saying like, "Oh, hey, it's a musical" and all this other stuff. I mean, it wasn't a lot of musical numbers in the movie to where like, oh hey, it's like way too much, but it was just enough to like throw the plot of the movie off track for sure. It was enough to throw the movie off track. So continuing on, another major critique involves the film's exploration of Arthur Fleck's identity. Todd Phillips delivers a twist by revealing that Arthur Fleck was never truly the Joker. Instead of Fleck's version of the Joker, portrayed by a symbolic figure, a persona projected onto him by the people of Gotham. This revelation, particularly in the film's final act, has left many fans feeling cheated. The character development from the first film, where Arthur's transformation into the Joker seemed certain, is now reframed as a delusional or a misunderstood identity. The revelation challenges the very foundation of the Joker character, and audiences had to come to accept that rather than fully embracing the chaotic transformation into the iconic villain. Fleck rejects the identity, choosing to remain Arthur. Critics argue that this choice robs the film of a satisfying conclusion, leaving viewers with more questions than answers. In fact, the idea that Arthur Fleck may have imagined his entire transformation while being confined in a mental institution only adds to the complexity, but not necessarily in a way that fans found rewarding. Um, and I don't like the fact that like Todd Phillips had to like sit up there and explain that like, hey, Arthur Fleck is not the Joker. It's just like it just sounds like a cop out for the fact that you see that everybody is just like dragging and mis misappro miss just like destroying and burning down the movie that you directed. So moving on, Todd Phillips' stress and fatigue with the comic book genre. Honestly, I feel like uh, Todd Phillips has openly discussed his feelings about being done with the comic book genre and DC films in general. He expressed that the pressures of making a such a culturally significant film, especially one with the baggage of the Joker's legacy, weighed heavily on him during production. He has also hinted that he never intended Joker to be a long standing franchise, but rather a standalone story. The reception of Fale Adieu suggests that Phillips' reluctance may have impacted the film's execution. Critics have suggested that Phillips appeared disconnected from the source material and the fan base. His insistence that Arthur Fleck was never the Joker has been seen as an attempt to subvert the genre's expectations, but many found it to be a frustrating narrative choice rather than a thought-provoking one. Just like I said, um, he said that because everybody's dragging the movie, and I feel like this is on. I feel like it's not only on him. I feel like it's also on the DC. What is it? The DCEU and the executives, the bigwigs. They wanted. I'm sure they are the ones who wanted to add the musical stuff so like Lady Gaga could be in the film. Um, they're the ones who wanted. They are the ones who probably put pressure on the writers to make the movie a certain type of way. So I can't. I'm not gonna put all the blame on Todd Phillips, but I'm sure in the middle of filming this stuff, he was done. He was finished. He was over this already. Um, which shouldn't be the case because like they could have really they could have really built this into like the first one amazing. The first Joker is amazing. And honestly, to be honest with you, they could have kept it at just the first one, and I would have been satisfied. I would have been satisfied. Making a second one is just like okay. You know, making sequels to movies is hit or miss. So it's like you could have. He really could have just kept it at one and just said no to doing a second one. But I'm sure it's like contractual obligations. Uh, really with that one. So and then now getting into the part that like makes the movie just garbage. The symbolic use of music in this movie is another area of contention. The musical number designed to evolve into the fractured psyche of Arthur Fleck and Harley Quinn didn't really resonate with the public. For many, the songs and choreographed sequences felt like an unnecessary departure from the psychological realism that defined the first film. The disjointed feeling between reality and fantasy in these scenes left audiences alienated rather than engaged. This creative choice was perhaps too avant garde for mainstream audiences. Um, I mean, I guess to me, honestly, if you like musicals, you'll love this movie. But if you were like really looking forward to there being like a movie where it's like mostly dialogue and the story making a continuation and connecting all the dots, you can't it's there but it's not fully there because the musical numbers are just like killing the momentum of this movie. um in retrospect, it seems that Joker Fale Adieu was always going to struggle with high expectation. The combination of genre shifts, Todd Phillips' fatigue with the comic book genre, and a polarizing twist on the Joker character culminated in a film that failed to live up to its predecessor in the eyes of many viewers. While some praise the film for its boldness and subversive take on the Joker's mythosis, a significant portion of the audience felt disconnected from the movie, leaving the film to face mixed reviews. Ultimately, Phillips' decision to distance himself from the comic book genre might be a good thing, honestly, to be fair with you. Just off the basis of how things are going. And he's never gonna I'm sure he's never gonna talk about this franchise again after this movie. So, but hey, moving on, man. We're moving on to WWE, man. So the October 7th Monday Night Raw, which aired after the aftermath of Bad Blood, the premium live event. So the show kicks off with a strong recap of Bad Blood, especially focusing on the Hell in the Cell match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. CM Punk, though recovering from the brutal match, made a brief appearance to tease his future plans and rekindle the tension with Seth Rollins. Rollins' interaction with Punk felt like a strong nod to their long-standing rivalry. I'm ready for this match to happen, to be honest with you, because they keep teasing, teasing. Give us this rivalry already, man. Seth Rollins hates CM Punk. CM Punk despises Seth Rollins. Let's turn this rivalry into money, man. We cooking. Let's get it started. Start the feud. I'm glad they're done with Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. You know, it's over. It's done. Now they got to figure out what to do with Drew McIntyre. Then you already got CM Punk versus Seth Rollins coming already. Like, I don't like. Let's push the Seth Rollins Bronson Reed thing to the side. Give us Seth Rollins versus CM Punk already. Give us the feud. You know. Further building up potential high stakes encounters, post Punk match demeanor was notably darker, indicating his character may be evolving into a more unhinged heel, which adds depth to his story arc. The tension between Punk and Rollins set a solid foundation for the show's narrative, especially with Punk eyeing future confrontations. I'm not gonna lie, Punk came out and he was talking, and it just felt like, man, he don't got enough. He don't got a lot left after that Hell in the Cell thing. He don't really got a lot of time left. People keep forgetting that Punk is like old. Punk is old, bro. He don't got a lot of time left, bro. As far as like athletically speaking. So I feel like they need to just push the button on this CM Punk versus Rollins feud. Let's get it started. Like, bro, they can legitimately just give us Punk versus Rollins at WrestleMania. You can literally build from what's the next pay per view? Is it Survivor Series? Yeah, I believe it's Survivor Series. So I mean, they can build off of that. Give us start the start get the ball rolling now on that. So moving on, Jay Uso versus Xavier Woods. Jay Uso successfully defends his Intercontinental Championship against Xavier Woods. To be honest with you, it was a squash match. If I'm being fully for certain on that, the match featured. Honestly, I don't even really need to get into the match because the match was so short. It wasn't even like it was just like a hey, let's like remind everybody that Jey Uso is the Intercontinental Champion. So Xavier Woods is slowly turning and developing into a heel since the Odyssey Jones thing. However, this post-match chaos became the real talking point because here comes Braun Breaker ambushing Jey Uso. Not only spearing Jey Uso, but he also spears. Well, before he spears, before he spears Jey Uso and starts beating him like a dog, uh, there's like a whole little like incident between Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston where Kofi is saying like, "Bro, let's help Jey Uso." Xavier's like, "Hell no, I just lost to Jey Uso. I just lost to Jey Uso, and now you want me to turn around and help him? Hell no, I'm not helping him with nothing. That's their problem." So Jey Uso not only gets speared, Kofi Kingston gets, you know, beat to smithereens out of the ring, and then Braun Breaker gets out of the ring, and then now while Kofi is like I think down or whatever, Braun Breaker spears Xavier Woods, and I think Kofi got hit too. So um, it's a lot going on with that. We're potentially seeing Braun Breaker and Jey Uso feud again. The former champion versus the current champion would make it makes sense. They're just taking too long with the Xavier Woods heel turn. Like, dude, turn him heel already. You've taken too long. Dude, like if dude needs to be a heel already, turn him heel. Why are we taking so long on that? Anyways, moving forward, Sheamus versus Pete Dunne in a Donnybrook match. Sheamus and Pete Dunne square off in a Donnybrook match, continuing their violent rivalry. The match is some made up matchup I've never heard before. The match embraced its chaotic stipulation with heavy use of props. Well, they had whiskey barrels and shillelaghs. There was like a spot where I can't remember the move that Sheamus did. Sheamus did like this move off of the whiskey barrels, taking Pete Dunne and like putting him into like I don't know what the name of the move is, but he put him through it. He put him through like two tables from a whiskey barrel. Um, it was a good match though. I like seeing like uh, what do you call them, bruiser type wrestlers going against each other, and just it's a lot of like European uppercuts and a lot of a lot of high action. It was a good match. Um, I believe Sheamus beat Pete Dunne, but yeah, once again, it was a good match. Europeans know how to put on a good wrestling match, bro. Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Now, I just don't understand why. Like, as I stated before, I don't understand why Sami Zayn. Like, there's nobody else that they can make go against Gunther. Like, there's nobody. Why does it have to be Sami Zayn? Didn't Gunther and Sami Zayn feud over the Intercontinental Championship, and now all of a sudden he's going up against Gunther again? Like, it's just a lot of copy and paste going on here. So in the main event, Gunther defended his World Heavyweight Championship against Sami Zayn. This match was a technical masterpiece with Gunther's raw power contrasting Zayn's resilience and underdog spirit. Zayn's numerous comebacks thrilled the crowd, especially when he seemed close to victory. However, Gunther's dominance prevailed, and he locked in a sleeper hold, forcing the referee to stop the match. This hard-fought battle cemented Gunther as a dominant champion, while continuing to portray Zayn as the ultimate underdog, always on the cusp of victory, but never quite overcoming the odds. The match capped the show with a sense of finality, but also hinted that Zayn's championship aspirations are far from over. I do want to say that I believe Monday Night Raw was in St. Louis, and they had Sexy Red come out and introduce the show. I believe the show was also produced by HBK on that night. So it's kind of, mean, I guess, since they're in St. Louis, why not get Sexy Red to come out? I guess it makes sense. But like WWE, please don't overdo the Sexy Red thing. Okay. Like she doesn't need to be there every time, right? I see her on Monday Night Raw. Then you got her on NXT too. Like, man, don't overdo it, please. So we got Cody Rhodes backstage. Um, he has a backstage segment. There was like at some point they had like a technical difficulty, like maybe twice during the show. Uh, he teased a potential match with Sami Zayn for Crown Jewel. His segment felt disjointed a little bit. Um, why are we trying to like? Why are we trying to make Crown Jewel so like enthusiastic? I don't know, but um, I guess I want to know what is going to be done about Cody Rhodes getting attacked by Kevin Owens. Now Kevin Owens is going to be a heel. I want to know what's going to happen with that. But moving on, Judgment Day and Raquel Rodriguez have a backstage segment. Basically, I think it's Jackie Redmond asking questions about, oh, why, like, Raquel Rodriguez, are you now with, are you now with the Judgment Day or whatever? Blah, blah, blah. Like, they didn't, like, it wasn't even really needed, to be honest with you. Them and that little backstage segment just, it's like, it makes no sense. She didn't say nothing. They pulled back out and drove up out of the stadium or the arena, excuse me. For the most part, I mean, it was all right. Raw, I've never been a big pro Raw fan. Just because of like Raw, I feel like Raw is Hollywood. Raw is where your Hollywood stuff is. The real entertainment, the real wrestling, the real whatever is watching SmackDown. And I'm gonna say the wrestling is on NXT. But SmackDown is a combination of good entertainment and also or should I say cinema and wrestling together. So but yeah, that Monday Night Raw was just all right. So moving on to NXT, um, you got Trick Williams celebrating, and the show kicked off with Trick Williams celebrating his second reign as NXT champion. This was a feel good moment for Trick's fans, but it didn't last long. Of course, Wes Lee interrupted, challenging Trick for the title. The segment established tension between the two and foreshadowed future encounters. Wes Lee's interruption kept the competitive spirit alive. So we have a women's a women's 6-woman tag match. Kalani Jordan, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair versus Fatal Influence. One of the highlights of the night was the 6-woman tag match featuring some of the biggest names in women's wrestling. This match was a fast-paced, high-spot type of match. It says chemistry between the teams was strong, particularly the teamwork Cargill and Belair, who continue to dominate as women's tag team champions. Moving forward to Randy Orton mentioning Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Randy Orton made a backstage appearance offering advice to Nathan Frazier and Axiom. The segment highlighted Orton's role as a veteran mentor to the up-and-coming talents in NXT. By the way, I just want to say that this is a competing episode against AEW. Now, since they were in St. Louis, Sexy Red was performing. Actually, she performed on I don't know why it's not in my notes, but she performed at NXT and she was interrupted by Ethan Page. And actually, Ethan Page coming out was actually the funniest thing ever. Because he was like, Sexy Red, you're, yeah, you. He was like, your performance? Yeah, it's canceled. I thought that was actually pretty funny. That was hilarious. But for the most part, yeah, that it was fun seeing her again. You know, like I said, WWE do not overdo the booking of Sexy Red. Please don't do that. You know, just like too much of something is not good for the soul. So just keep that Sexy Red implementation to a minimum. Okay, so now we got Stephanie Vaquer made a strong debut on NXT, teaming up with I don't know if it's Julia. I think I'm saying that right. Julia to attack Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade after a heated promo from Perez. This segment was a turning point for the women's division, adding new faces and deepening the conflict between Perez and Julia. Okay, so we got Tony D'Angelo versus Obafemi for the NXT North American Championship. One of the most intense matches of the night saw Tony D'Angelo actually defeat Obafemi to capture the NXT North American Championship. The match was hard hitting, and Femi's physicality was on full display. D'Angelo's resilience was a key storyline as he fought through Femi's dominant offense, eventually securing the win with a roll up. So, wait a minute. That's crazy. The post match celebration was a fitting climax for D'Angelo's family story arc. So, in the main event, we have Randy Orton versus Javon Evans. The night concluded with Randy Orton facing off against Javon Evans in a hard fought main event. Orton, the seasoned veteran, brought his methodological style. Hopefully, I said that right. While Evans showcased his speed and agility, living up to the hype of being the fastest man in NXT, Orton's experience ultimately triumphed as he finished Evans with an RKO, of course. But the match succeeded in building up Evans as a future contender. And that is all I have for you. NXT, it being a competing episode against, I believe, Dynamite. They did all of that stuff. They went and got Sexy Red and Randy Orton for NXT just for AEW. I think it's actually pretty funny. I wish I had AEW's results and everything here, but I don't. But yeah, I mean, I don't. It didn't really matter when I was looking up something. I saw that the ratings for matter of fact, let me look it up right now since I'm here. Let me look it up right now. AEW's Dynamite ratings. I don't know. Let's just see if it is here. I don't know if it's Dynamite or Rampage. Not sure. Let's see. Let's see here. So it says, oh, wow. Yeah, it's AEW Dynamite. So it was a head-to-head thing between NXT and AEW Dynamite. Let's see. So AEW Dynamite on TBS averaged 329,000 viewers compared to a 680,000 prior in the prior week. Let's see. Do they have NXT's numbers? I'm not entirely sure. But if they don't, it doesn't don't have it here, but this is what they had going on. They had Mercedes Monet versus Emi Sakura, a double title match. Brian Danielson and Wheeler Yuta versus Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. Dr. Britt Baker versus Willow Nightingale. Uh, Darby Allen and Brody King go face to face, and Hook called out Taz's attacker. That's all they had going on. Man, they could have really. They AEW had a chance to stack their card since they're going head to head with NXT, but they didn't do it. And NXT was the ones that prevailed because they actually had a stacked card, and they had Sexy Red. It's crazy, but hey, whatever. Whatever. But hey man, that's all I got for y'all today on this episode of the Just Facts podcast 137. I'm gonna try to make this broad as possible. Hey man, until the next time, y'all take it easy.